What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on my channel, and today we're going to review Port Adelaide's 2018 season. Another disappointment, but there were a few positives to come out of it. So let's run through 2018 and grade Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide 2018, 12 and 10, finished 10th on the ladder, 107.6%. Before we run through everything though, I just wanted to do a few special mentions to a few people that have helped me throughout 2018, throughout the season, and forever long into the off season and in 2019 as well. First of all, just the Portraits podcast. Special thank you to them. The boys on there, in my second year, they're a fantastic bunch of people, and it's good to talk all things Port Adelaide with you guys, but with them as well, and all their support. And the stuff we do on game day is really sensational, so thank you to them. To a special bloke named on Twitter, the fan account, Power from Port. He's a ripping fella and has really helped me and supported me and shown me a few different techniques to, grow this channel and really help build a base and what is a very, very passionate supporter base that we have at Port Adelaide. So thank you very much to PFP, and also to you guys, the subscribers. Without you, your support, your comments, likes, shares, views, we wouldn't be in this position where I can happily sit down and have a chat with you guys about this year. So I really appreciate that. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Plenty more will come throughout the off season and into 2019. Okay, so that's all the special mentions out the way. Let's talk Port Adelaide. Let's give Port Adelaide a few positives. Let's talk about the year as a positive aspect. We finished 12 wins, 10 losses, so on the positive scale there. Our major positive for the year was our defence. Players like players like Jonas, Dougal Howard, Tom Cleary, Dan Houston, Bonner at stages, Pittard at stages, Hamish Hartlett especially before his unfortunate ACL. Those types of players were just awesome down back, and we have depth there now. Leanett coming in late into the year, Homsch at stages were really good. He might not be at his best now, but he was certainly playing a part. So our defence to average 70 points against this year. We didn't make finals, and I'll get to that a little bit later, but 70 points for the year. We kept teams well below 100. Teams like Melbourne, Richmond didn't even score anything over 60. Games like the showdowns where there were tight contests, and we really kept the Crows to a minimum in terms of scoring at stages. And just these teams that we just found a way to beat because of our defensive pressure, which was awesome. It's a real positive, and those kids are very young, and to have a young defence like that perform really well with a general down back like Tom Jonas, what a bright future we've got in our defensive line. Another thing, in 2017 we were branded as basically flat track bullies. In 2018 we can happily say we've lifted that tag, beating 3 top 8 teams, Melbourne, Richmond, and Sydney as well. 2 of them at home, and Sydney obviously away. North Melbourne at one stage as well. Was in the 8, we bet them. The Crows in a showdown, we finally broke the showdown tag. It's small steps, small glimpses in a year of what promised so much more. But it's a good positive to take in, and we know that our best footy can beat the top 8 teams. So a real positive there for Port Adelaide, and a little mental thing they can take through on and to build upon into 2019. Another positive as well, obviously the big signing of Ollie Wines happened during the year, and he had a pretty solid year at stages. He showed some glimpses, as this year has been for Port. But a few other key players that really stood out amongst the rest of the bunch of players that we have. Tom Jonas down back, as I mentioned before, absolute superstar. 40-man squad in the All-Australian side. Unfortunately didn't get picked, but was very solid down back in his 18 games. And to have a defender like him have 30 possessions, he's taking contested marks and putting pressure on, and really being a general down back. An awesome year. The Hoff Justin Westhoff, 31 years of age. He gets better with age, man. You know, he's averaging 20 odd disposals a game. He's averaging a goal a game as well. He had a real standout year, and he's really my tip for the BNF for Port Adelaide because he was just sensational to watch, and he really stood up. And he might not be, much of a verbal leader, but he's very much a action leader and was really showing the players out there how it's done. And obviously our champion player, Robbie Gray, absolute superstar, 4-time All-Australian now in 5 years too. And to survive cancer the way he did and come out and kick 36 goals, our leading goal kicker for the year for the second time in his career. Robbie Gray is just an outright star, and I really can happily say that he's going to be a major part in the next couple of years as well, and he's going to go down as one of Port Adelaide's best. And also another little positive that we had as well was hitting 61,000 members, breaking the record once again for the most members we've had, and it keeps growing and growing every year. And all I can say is stick with the club and the players and the boys and everyone involved, because sooner or later everything's going to click and we're going to have a superb year. So just stick on board. Let's have a look at the negatives for 2018. We all know a few negatives from this year, whether it happened on field, off field, in the coach's box. It was all a mess in the end. And look, I think the last 6 games of the year really overglossed what was a pretty solid year, and I think the last 6 games exposed our bad weaknesses that we have. And one of them, which was a real positive in 2017, was scoring. We averaged 81 points for the year. We might have averaged 70 against, which was one of the best in the league. To average only 81, you're not going to win many games of football averaging 81 points. We lost 3 goals this year. I don't know how, whether it was a coaching manufacturer or it was mainly, the way we used the ball. And I combined the next negative that we had, which was skill. Scoring 81, we missed easy set shots. Games like against the Gold Coast where we just were missing every part of the ground. We just couldn't hit a set shot. Coming inside 50 as well. Our skill level's awful. We have no forward structure now. To kick 81 points in the game was a solid. We kicked 89 against Essendon in the last game, which was the first time we hit over 80 points since the showdown. To average 64 points in the last 6 weeks of the game of the year is disgusting. And to think we were going to be in the top 8 after that, no way. We played like Oz kickers. That's how I described it throughout the year. Every damn player had to have a touch of the footy coming forward. Got a handball, touch, kick, mark, kick it sideways, kick it forward, kick it back. Everyone had to have a disposal by the time we got in the forward 50. And by the time we did, every single opponent was inside our 50. We had a pretty good average in terms of inside 50s for the year. We were like 4th or 5th. Most of the numbers on the stats in terms of where clubs are ranked, we're in the top half. Clearances 2nd, tackles 2nd. Contested possessions, we were 6th. That's another thing too. Our game plan revolves around us being a contested style game, and that's got to stop. Going forward, kicking it into the pocket, we can't afford to continually kick it inside 50 into the pocket, hoping we get a stoppage goal. Because eventually we're going to get caught out, and our transition back is not good enough because we let too many goals slip, which was a problem we had in 2016. And look what happened that year. We didn't play finals, and once again, we haven't made it again. Which brings me to the point of mentality. That's a negative. Our mentality on the field is awful. Our leadership from key personnel is good in terms of Travis Boak, Westhoff, Ollie Wines at stages. But as a collective, those types of players are not working together to bring the younger bunch of players to their level. And when that happens, the system breaks down. We end up avoiding what happened in the last 6 weeks, where we lose games in key moments. Adelaide, West Coast, Collingwood in the last quarter, Essendon we started slowly. The Bulldogs we were on, and then Fremantle, no one stood up. Those last 6 weeks, 6 of the last 7 we lost. I'm not saying it's not Kenny's fault. I'm not saying it's not the coach's fault. I'm just saying the players have their own end of the bargain. They've got to hold up. And with that, those key personnel not standing up in key stages, that's where the system breaks down, and we continually blame the coach and the coaching department, when in the end, all it is the players on the field who can't execute that game plan in key moments because mentally we don't know what we're doing and we're just, confused, and we get ahead of ourselves. And that's not the case of how you should play football in key moments. Another thing too, the last negative I have written down here for 2018 is recruits. I feel we had glimpses. They kind of showed form of how our team played. In glimpses, they were fantastic. Motlop, probably the best of the lot so far. Tom Rockcliffe was injured a lot and didn't really have a pre-season. And Jack Watts, well, you can't make much of Jack Watts. Obviously, parts of his reason that he was not as good down forward as obviously our forward movement. But then other stages where he had the chance to grab the ball or he went after the footy, he just didn't take his chance, and he was a bit probably soft. And that's probably something he's got to work on. He's got to really stand up. And I understand it's the first year of the new club, just trying to fit in, play nice, be ruthless. Because Jack Watts, you were picked number 1 for a reason. We don't know that reason. Got to show it, mate. I mean, us as fans, we believe, but with such a disappointing year from everyone, unfortunately, we can't give as much positive feedback as we'd like because it's just the way it goes, and we really got to, find your space. And I'm pretty sure it doesn't take 23 weeks for all recruits to find a spot in this team. They should feel right at home. It's just footy at the end of the day. So they've got to work hard. The rest of the players have got to work hard, and so do the coaching department. A full review is going to be done of this club in the football department because at this moment, it's not good enough. So, after all those positive and negatives, what needs to change? As I said, a full review of the football department will occur over the pre-season, and whether that's changing, obviously coaches have left, Greaves, Nix and Brendan Lade. We're going to get new assistant coaches, maybe restructure the coaching department. Key leadership changes in terms of players. Maybe we do change the captaincy this year, free up Boak a bit more, give someone else a chance. Maybe the leadership group changes. Who knows? But at the end of the day, things have got to change, and it's the way we go about it. I think 5 years of doing the same routine and trying to think it still works, that's on Ken Hinkley. That's got to change. His mentality going forward in terms of the game plan and the way we move the ball has to change, and skill level. If we can execute a simple game plan, then more often than not, you'll get the 4 points. Simple footy wins games, and that's what we got to focus on. The 3 main factors is the pressure, the scoring, and the skill. If we can get those right, we'll be a real big contender going into 2019 and above. Thank you very much for watching, Port fans, this 2018 season review of Port Adelaide. It's been a tough year for all of us to endure. We've had glimpses, we've had moments, but at the end of the day, those didn't stack up to the way we played. And in the end, we're sitting here at the end of August, going into September, watching 8 other very good teams go at it for finals. Yeah, I think we should be there. Do we deserve to be there? Probably not with the way we played. But as a team, on paper, we deserve to be in there. We've got a talented list. We're just going to push through and hopefully get the job done next year. Thanks for tuning in, Port fans. Thank you very much for all the support in 2018. I will continue on for the remainder of the off-season. It might be not as regular uploads, but things will come out, so stick along. Subscribe to the channel if you're new for plenty more Port Adelaide content. My name's Anthony, Port fans, and as always, can the pair.